Hello everyone! Today I have a front and back spread using Design E page protector, which has the 4 6x6 pockets. So this was a challenge, but it actually turned out really nice. So I'm going to show you how I did it. To begin, I used the page protector itself and laid it over my paper, and I just marked where the seams were of the page protector, because eventually at the end I will be cutting it along these lines. So on this front page I'm doing a 4 pocket spread like this, and I'm treating each one as a pocket, and then you'll see what I do on the back. So I'm going to start with this pocket first, and I'm just going to treat it as if it were a pocket, even though it is on a 12 by 12 sheet. So I just began by inking up the edges of some scrap designer paper to mat my photo. And I choose my paper by the colors. I just try to match what's in the background a little bit, or I try to contrast it. So in this case I inked up the edges to get the contrast, and then now I'm adding a dark color to actually get more contrast because it's a dark color. So and I just going through my scrap piles to try to find different pieces. I try to use my scraps as much as possible. So I think that looks good, but then I decided to add one more piece of that dark blue on the bottom just to ground my photo, because I feel like it looked like it was floating a little bit. So here I'm just adding a little strip on the bottom there. And I'm using those lines, I drew my pencil lines to keep it in its space. And then now I'm going to add a little embellishment cluster here. This embellishment I made myself. They're just punches out of my scrap pile, and then the little moments was just a stamp, and then I added a heart stamp to it and punched it out of using a circle punch. And I'll have my video linked below of me making my own embellishments if you'd like to see that. So I just took a stapler and stapled that together, and I'm gluing this little circle piece, the yellow piece, to add a little bit of color. And then I'm going to take some dimensional adhesive to stick it down, just because the staple wasn't very flat, and so it wasn't laying down flat on the photo. And then I'm just adding my little title to this photo pocket, and I'll speed that up here for you. And then I'm using these little Cosmo Cricut letters, and I found this word here that says together, and I thought that fit nicely. And then I just added an enamel dot from Stampin' Up! And then I'm going to simply just write the date in the bottom left corner. Excuse me. No other journaling. I think it's kind of self-explanatory on this photo. So that will finish this pocket, and we'll move on to the next one. And so I'm going to begin with this tag that's been in my stash forever. And I took the Spectrum Noir marker to change the color of the reinforcer so that it matched better. And then I just took some gray and white twine and put it through the hole there. And I'm really trying to use these tags. They've been in my stash forever, so I like the way it looks as a background layer. So I'm just going to add an outline border around the entire tag, just to, again, add a little bit of contrast and make it stand out a little bit. And then I took some gray, again, scrap pieces of paper. I cut it into a diagonal again, and I inked up the edges so that it contrasted the background. And I'm doing what I did in the other photo, and I'm just matting it on the 2 opposite corners. And then this is a tag I punched out of that same gray scrap piece of paper, and I'm just adding a star stamp, and then I added my own handwriting there, and dashed lines around the edges. And I'm just gluing down a glitter punched star that I had laying on my desk. And so that finishes this little embellishment. So I'm going to glue that down. And then I have these stickers from the Simple Stories collection, and I just wanted to add a little bit more color and embellishment to this photo, so I'm just adding some of these stars. And again, I'm pulling colors that kind of match the background a little bit. And so I just added 3 there. And then just to ground it again, I just kind of felt like it was floating, so I added again that same navy blue as I did in the first pocket, just to kind of give it somewhere to sit, if that makes sense. And I believe that finishes this pocket. So now we'll go on to the next one. And so again, I'm just going to map my photo and ink up the edges of the designer paper. So I'm just, again, picking colors to that contrast. And as you can see, this is all still on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. It's not cut up yet. Okay, so that is intentional because I will be working on the back. So here I'm using a tag that I made, again, in my previous video of making my own embellishments. So I'm going to layer that here and use the same twine so that I have a little bit, again, of that continuity. It kind of matches with the other pocket I did. And then I did add some glue, I'll show you here, to hold the twine down in place. So this is the two-way glue pen, but any kind of glue pen would work, a wet glue. And this dries clear, so I just put some glue on the paper and pressed it down to get it to stay in place. And then now I'm just adding a few more stickers. And I can't really see what I'm doing here because of my recording. Sorry about that. And I just wanted to add a few more embellishments, so I just took some more of these enamel dots that I had from Stampin' Up. And this again is another embellishment I made myself by just stamping and embossing it and punching it out. And then I did a little journaling on the tag, and then I just glued it down over the photo there. And then I wanted to hide those words, so I used, this is my journaling, and then I used a banner stamp and embossed it and cut it out. And I'm just going to adhere that over those words on this journaling card. And then I'm just going to do my own handwriting here. And I'm just showing you the calendar that I printed out off the internet that shows me which week number. So for my son's birth weeks, I wanted to keep track. So here are the 3 or 4 pockets on this side done. So I'm just giving you a little close-up. And now we're going to get started on the back. So I did the same thing on the back by marking the seam lines vertically and horizontally. And I have one photo here. And so I'm going to begin with this tag, which again I'm trying to use up. So I'm going to use a Sacrificial Project Life card, and I'm going to cut it up and use the grid pattern only to make my card. And then I just cut the hole to make it look like a tag again, and then I just put the same twine through it. So I like the way that looks much better than the pink. Now I'm using some Amy Tangerine thickers to put the 1 there. And another Sacrificial Project Life card, I'm going to cut up this 1 month little tab, and then I'm going to ink up the edges of everything, and I'm going to use this piece as a layer behind my photo. And let's see, what do I do next? Okay, so I added another layer behind my photo, and then this is a little piece I cut actually out of the Stampin' Up! Catalog. I don't have the stamp set, but I liked the way it fit, and because it was gray from their catalog, it matched perfectly, so I just glued that in. And then this is another Sacrificial Project Life card. I'm going to cut it up. And so I added my journaling, and I added some hand stitching around the tag, and a little bit of hearts and dots between the letters of the word 1. And I'm placing my tag along where I see the vertical line, so that part of the tag will be in one quadrant, and then the other part will be in the other quadrant. So I did that on purpose. So here you can see I put the word month, but I later change it, the font, to match the Amy Tan. And now again I'm using a larger piece of designer paper to go behind the photo, and again to appear like it's spanning across the 2, again that vertical line. So I'm going to add it to the left hand side of this my journaling card to make it appear as if it's spanning the whole thing, because it wasn't big enough to. And again, I did this on purpose so that when I cut my page, it looks like they're supposed to match up, and you'll see what I mean when I cut it. So here again, I'm just adding some more layers and color, top and bottom, just for a little pop. And here's some stickers from Stampin' Up, their Project Life Baby Collection. So I just added this little sticker here, and one more up there. And then this also wood veneer also came from that same Stampin' Up Project Life baby edition. So magically here I changed my mind on the font, and up in the upper right quadrant seemed very plain and too empty for me. It didn't look balanced. So I added this journaling card to be behind the text, and I like the way that looks. And I purposely put a gap between the M and the O because that's where the cut line is going to be. So yeah, I made sure I had a gap there. And then I'm just using my two-way glue pen again to glue down this wood veneer. And I'm adding staples to make it look like it's stapled. And then I just adhered it to that journaling card. And then I added one more sticker from that Stampin' Up! Sticker sheet and some wood veneer stars to kind of add to that diagonal line of the spread. And then just to make it all match together as a 12 by 12, I'm just drawing on a border around the whole perimeter so that it has something to match all the way around. And this helps once I cut it up, you'll see how it looks together. So this is the entire spread on the back. So now this is the bravery test. I'm going to cut my layout. So again, here's the back. Everything is clear of those lines. I was just kind of double checking before I made any cuts. So I simply am taking a metal ruler and my X-Acto knife. And again, you got to be careful because I have a lot of layers between that tag, and then I wanted to make sure I did not have to cut through those thickers, so that's why I left a space there. So a slow and steady hand, and again a deep breath, and then I just cut along that vertical line. So I just cut my layout apart. And now again I'm going to cut it horizontally now. And I am actually going to cut through that twine and everything. So I had to make sure I glued it down on both quadrants to make sure it would stay in place. And then here's my final cut. And just like that, I now have 4 pieces to go in the pocket. So I hope you really like this. This is how it looks in the pocket. The front page as individual pockets, and then here's the back as a whole spread. And you can see why I had to span things across the quadrants to make it all go together. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.